So today we will discuss about the Agile model. So already we have started the topic software engineering. In the software engineering topic, so initially we have studied the definition of software engineering. So the definition of software engineering is the application of a systematic, disciplined, quantifiable approach to the development, operation and maintenance of software. So this is the standard definition given by the IEEE. So what the objective is, we are knowing that we are doing the computer science and engineering. So under that we have a course software engineering. So what is the difference between software engineering and core engineering like mechanical or electrical? So we know that we are developing the softwares. Now what are the things we need to understand and what are the things we need to follow? That is given by the IEEE. That is, software engineering is the application of systematic and disciplined, quantifiable approach to the development. So whenever we are developing the software, we have to follow the systematic, disciplined and quantifiable approach. And what we are doing for the development, operation and maintenance. So development of the software, operation, how it will work and how to maintain the software. That means kind of maintenance we require, kind of enhancement, kind of support system we require. So all are under the software engineering topic. Now next we have already discussed that there are lot of software development lifecycle model. Now our challenge is now current scenario is showing that whenever we are developing the software, some of the or the percentage of the software are the successful. And it comes 28%. So it is a Standish Grant report. So where we can see that 23% software are developed but are cancelled finally by the client. That means that are not fulfilling the requirement of the client and the company. And some of the software has been developed with a delayed or cost overrun. That means the client are expecting to get the software within the time, but the software is actually developed in a very long time and it is bit delayed. And also the over cost has come. So these are the scenario we can get that what thing we need to follow so that we can improve or we can increase the successful of the software development. So there should not be so much delay, there should not be so much overrun, over cost. Okay, so that's why what happens, that's why we in the software engineering we have several software development lifecycle models. Now we have already discussed about the traditional model. In the traditional model we have discussed waterfall model, iterative model, incremental model and then spiral. Now today our topic is Agile. Now why Agile has come and why it is very much preferred to the IT industry, we need to know today. Now before coming to the Agile model, just we have an introduction of the topic. That is, we have the traditional model, waterfall model, which is kind of rigid and linear. Linear means one phase, suppose requirement analysis has been done, then only we go for the design phase. After completing the design phase, then we can go for the development or the coding. Okay, so it is kind of rigid. We cannot skip or we cannot just revert back to the previous step or skip the next step. So that is the rigid and linear. It is just go one by one. So one phase is completed and next phase will come and next phase will exit. So just like a step up. So whenever we are going from downwards to upwards, we are just going to steps one by one, then only we can go to the first floor, then first floor to second floor in this way. And it is linear. And it is the late testing. That means we do the testing at the testing phase also. We are not doing the testing at the initial stage, in the design or in the development stage or the coding stage. And no user feedback until the end. So it is a very disadvantage that we are not getting any feedback from the customer before delivering the software. Okay, that's why what happens after If there is anything happened that not required or not desirable, so that need to be get the feedback from the final software. And in the agile model is bit different. It is more adaptive, iterative and incremental. So already we know that adaptive means it can adapt as per the requirement of the software. Then it is iterative. Iterative means we can just go any phase to any phase at any time. That means from development phase to testing phase, or maybe testing phase to again development phase, we can go any phase at any time. Then incremental. Incremental means initially we develop small portion of the software, then we can enlarge the software including other modules. Okay, suppose we are just including the customer information system, then we can include account system, so that the software is just incrementally increased. So that is the incremental. So that is the main advantage of this agile model. Next, agile overview. Now definition is iterative incremental approach focuses on customer collaboration. So every time whenever we are developing, we need to discuss with the customer, we need to get the customer requirements and feedbacks, and then only we can do the next plan or next phase of work. Similarly, responding to change. So what are the changes we have done? We have to say to the customer again. Again customer will see that, again they will give some feedback, good or bad, or may require some changes, they will give. Delivering working of software. So every time whenever we are delivering to the customer any phase of software, that is deliverable. That means that is working, and the working software, whenever the customer will see the working software, they can get the feel of the software. Clear? What are the things are there in the software? What are the modules? What are the features in the software? Now Agile manifesto. Now in the Agile model, we see that the four core values we need to follow. One is the individual and interaction. So it means the processes and the tools. What are the processes we need to follow, and what are the tools we have to use? Tool means here we have the language, it may be the code, maybe the design tool. Design tool means UML for object-oriented design. Entity relationship model. So this kind of tool we can use. Okay, so we have rational rows. That is another kind of design tool. Rational rows, you may learn. Right? So these tools for design, there are different types of tools for development or the coding. So that need to be standardized. Then the working software and comprehensive documentation. Working software means every time we have to develop a working software, and that should be a properly documented. So whenever we just deliver to the customer, we along with the software or the working of the software, we will deliver the project document as well. Similarly, customer collaboration and contract negotiation. So every time we have to collaborate with the customer and contract negotiation. Sometimes it happens that we are doing the software, working on the software, developing the software. Sometimes we need to renew the contract. So they have given us 6 months time, and we have collaborating and we are adding some extra features to the software and may require some extra time. So we can just approach them for contract negotiation. So just increase the time, or we can add some cost to the software development, right? So that is means and responding to the change and following the plan. So whenever we are required the changes, we have to do the change. For doing the change, we need to do the proper plan. Next, Agile principles. So in case of Agile model, we have to follow 12 Agile principles, which include welcome changing requirements. So whenever we require the changes, that need to be welcome, and deliver working software frequently. So whenever we are doing anything we are changing, we will deliver to the customer and we get the feedback. So that should be a working software. Then close daily operation between business people and developers. Now, business people means some who are actually working on the operating the software, right? Like banking operators, right? Like Zomato operators, means who are actually they are using the apps or using the application. So those are the business people. So business people are working on actually using that software and developers will develop the software. So they need to get the feedback from the business users. If any bug, any error, any problem in the software, that need to be identified. Okay. There is the simplicity. The art of the maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. So every time we need to follow the simplicity of the project. So what is Agile model? Agile model is the iterative incremental approach to the software development, focuses on collaboration, customer feedback and small rapid release. Have you understood? So these topics already we have discussed. Now emphasizes flexibility and responsiveness to the change. So whenever we require change, that should be flexible to do that. Now here we have the comparative study between the traditional SDLC with software development life cycle. Now we have the example like waterfall model, spiral, iterative, incremental model. Waterfall model is basically linear and sequential phases. Spiral model is risk-driven iterative model we have discussed. Only in the spiral model we have incorporated the risk. Okay, so risk is a very important thing for doing or developing a software. So that needs to be included. So that is included in the spiral model. And spiral model starting from water model, then iterative model, then incremental model, then spiral. Now in the spiral model, what we get, it is following the iterative, incremental as well as the risk analysis. So then it becomes a spiral model. So spiral model, we already discussed that if the waterfall model comes in this fashion, like a linear sequential model, but in case of spiral model, we can see that spiral model comes. In the spiral model, it comes like, so it is waterfall. Now in case of spiral model, which is incremental, right? So it is a spiral model. Now, so these are all the traditional methods. Now, what is the common disadvantage of traditional model? That is heavy documentation and rigid planning. Rigid planning means in case of waterfall model we see that every phase we have to complete, then we can go to the next phase of the SDLC. So that is easy. And also a heavy documentation. Why? And basically it has the some other disadvantages. Now here, Agile versus the traditional model. In case of Agile model, it is iterative, collaborative, adaptive to change, continuous delivery and feedback, whereas the traditional model is sequential, rigid structure, requirement frozen early, feedback at end. So here in the traditional model, we are taking the feedback at the end of the software development. Now here we have the comparative analysis of different software lifecycle phases. So here we have in the waterfall model, we can see in the waterfall model we have how many phases? Requirement, design, implementation or coding, testing, deployment, maintenance. While in the iterative process, the same process can be there, but there should be iterative. So from one phase to another phase we can move. In the incremental model, there should be the incrementally we will develop from small version of the software, then we can move to the upper version of the software incremental way. And in the Agile model, we have the concept, then inception, then iteration, then release, then maintenance, then retirement. So these are the some phases of Agile model. Now what is the advantage of Agile model? So it is customer centric development, early and predictable delivery. Early delivery, what does it mean? That every time whenever we are doing the changes, we will deliver to the customer and we need to get the feedback. So every time we are giving the early delivery and we are taking the feedback. Improve quality through the continuous testing. Every time we are doing the testing, whenever we are delivering any version of the software, and high team collaboration and communication. So there should be a high collaboration with the team members of the development and as well as the business operator who are actually using the software, like the bank operators or the users like us who are actually using the software, and the ability to accommodate changing requirements. What are the changes? We can, when to use Agile. The project requirements are expected to evolve. The project requirements is huge, and if we follow the Agile model, then we expect that we can fulfill the all requirements of the project. Next is the customer involvement is high throughout the process. So every time the customer here means the client. Client means suppose bank is giving you a project to develop a banking system. So bank is the client or bank is the customer, right? So every time we need to discuss. There are small to medium-sized team working on the dynamic task. And quick delivery is prioritized over the extensive documentation. So every time whenever we are actually developing, now why IT company prefer Agile? So it is very important. Now whenever you are going to a software company, you find that they will prefer to develop the software using the Agile model. Now what is the preference to do it? Basically, the faster time to market with incremental release. Incremental release means we see that whenever we are downloading any kind of software, like any academic software or any business software, they have certain versions. So why the versions? Because if the older version have any deficiency or have any problem, that need to be removed in the next version, right? So that's why they will keep the release the early version. Now the better alignment with the client needs. So client or the customer needs need to be incorporated in the industry, IT industry. Then greater visibility and control for the stakeholders. Then support innovation through the continuous improvement. Okay. Next, there is two tools particularly used for the Agile model. One is the Scrum. It is actually used for, you can see, the key framework for the managing work with roles and events. So we have to divide the whole project into different roles and events. Roles means who will perform which task. That is the role. So I am here the teacher. So my role is teacher and you may be the student here. Now whenever you will give any presentation, at that time you will be maybe a demonstrator, right? So your role may be changed. So that is the thing. Whenever we are just have the project, we have to divide them into role and kind of events. And we have to make the key concepts are the project owner, development team, and the artifacts, that means product backlogs, print backlogs. So these are the standard things we will discuss later point of time, because today we are trying to deliver the basic of Agile model. But the term you should know that is sprint and Scrum is used to develop the Agile model. So two things you need to remember, that is Scrum and sprint, that is used to develop the Agile model. Okay. Now coming to the extreme programming. So it is also another tool used for the developing the agile. So here for key practices used for test driven development. So we are here considering every time we are testing. So that can be done by the extreme programming XP. So here we have the concept of pair programming, continuous integration, refactoring and simple design. So just you need to know and remember the term extreme programming is used for the agile model. Now agile in industry. Now how agile is actually used? In real time scenario we can see that the example is food delivery app like Zomato. Right? Now how this Zomato actually developed using the agile model? We just need to understand the example. Now here the company who has developed the Zomato, so company startup building with Zomato like app. So suppose a ABCD company. ABCD company is just introduced a app like Zomato. Now what actually it will do? Now here whenever we are developing this kind of software, Agile, any Zomato like software, what we need to follow? The Agile allows frequent updates, quick response to the customer feedback. Now frequent updates means every time many people are doing the orders. That means every time it is doing the updates. That means product also updates, product price also updates, right? Product availability also updates, right? So lot of things is parallelly updating. Similarly, the quick response to the customer feedback. Now, if the food is not actually as per the desire, so customer will give the feedback, or any kind of, every time customer is using Zomato app. If any time he is facing any kind of issue for operating the application of Zomato, then they issue or they can raise a complaint. So that is the customer feedback every time we are taking, and that should be response to the customer as well. Then we have the sprint to add the features like order tracking and rating system. Now here we have the sprint. Now who will track the order? Now suppose you have ordered some item. Now you need to track where the order is right now, whether it has been dispatched or it is on the way or it is just coming soon. So you can track the order. Similarly, rating system. Now after the delivery there will be a option for rating. So delivery rating there may be, or maybe the product rating, right, or the food rating. So that also feature can be implemented. Then the regular stand up and the sprint review the help manage changing requirements. Then sprint also manage the changing requirements. Now suppose we need to change something. Something needs to be changed, or now something needs to be updated. So that needs to be managed by this sprint. Then the continuous development ensure the quick delivery and customer service. Now every time whenever we are developing the software, if there is any problem or issues in the software, if we correct them, then we get the customer satisfaction. Right? So in this way we can apply the agile model, and it will be preferable in IT industry. Now advantages is the flexibility to change, faster delivery of quality software, improved team collaboration, and the challenges. Now all the advantages we can understand. Now we have to know what are the difficulties and the challenges. Difficulties to estimate the cost and time. Now what will be the cost of developing cost of a software? That is difficult. And the time of the delivery. because every time we are delivering the small version of the software and we need to get the feedback. So whenever we are getting, so there may be a possibility of delay. So every time whenever we are getting the feedback from the customer, so feedback may be delayed. So if the feedback is delayed, then the development also may be delayed. So that's why the cost and the estimate time for the development is difficult to estimate. The required experienced teams. So experienced team will handle the agile model. It is very efficient but need experienced team to do that, and not ideal for the all project types. So for the IT industry is it okay? For small types of project it is not suitable, right? Then the summary, agile is iterative, incremental and adaptive. We can add one thing, adaptive. Iterative, incremental plus adaptive. Scrotum is sprint-based project team management. XP, developer consenting practices like PDD. Test-driven development. Test-driven development. So whenever we are doing the development, we are parallelly doing the testing. So that is the using the XP, that is XP program. Then Agile is not actually similar to the waterfall. Agile welcomes the changes. And the summary we can see that is similar thing. Okay, so this is all about the Agile model. So today what we have discussed what is software engineering, then we have discussed the why or what are the percentage of software are successfully delivered or delayed or maybe cancelled. Then we have discussed the different types of software development models like waterfall model, iterative model, incremental model and the spiral model. Then we have just one of the very popular model, that is Agile model. We have compared the Agile model with the traditional models and we have discussed the advantages and what are the things in the Agile model we have discussed. Then we have discussed the advantages of the Agile model and then we have the summary.